movement continue. And Tucker Carlson is now apologizing publicly on his podcast for his involvement in supporting Trump. Let's play the clip.
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in some very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
I've heard enough. Him saying, and I'd like to welcome Josh, attorney and husband of mine, to iHip News today. Tucker Carlson saying we didn't intentionally do this, and there were quote unquote signs of Trump's character issues. And who he's interviewing there is his brother, Buckley Carlson. And he is a Republican Party operative who previously wrote speeches for Trump. His son, also named Buckley, recently resigned as Vance's deputy press secretary following his dad's fallout with Trump. And I have huge issues with these triple Trumpers, that now the very obvious conclusion that Trump is a dipshit, a fascist, a criminal, a con man, and it took you 10, 11 years to figure it out. I'm sorry. I just don't have a lot of empathy for that.
The bigger problem for me is, what did you get from Trump that you didn't expect? Because you got him you got just as advertised. All of us did. It's so much self-serving bullshit. And what really is going on here is that for some reason, Tucker Carlson's not getting exactly what he wants from this president. And so now he wants to have buyer's remorse. It's not because he's got some sort of moral compass and he has somehow seen the light. It's because it doesn't serve his own interest anymore. Complete hypocrisy.
So there's this whole notion right now with a lot of people, Josh, that say we need to offer these triple Trumpers an off-ramp. And I personally feel like, and you grew up in rural Oklahoma, MAGA central. I grew up in Oklahoma City, the suburbs. And I feel like there's always deference to people who bend their knee to the patriarchy, whose first impulses are homophobia, racism, worshiping money, worshiping rich people. And they all screw up really bad for 11 years now. And then it's like, oh, these poor babies, we need to offer them an off-ramp. And I just have a hard time believing that offering these people an off-ramp, and you know these people, you know both the rural type of Trumper, and then we both know the country club type of Trumper that has gay friends, that tries to act socially cool, but every chance they can get, they go vote for racism because they like it. I don't see these people ever voting for Democrats, ever. And I'm not saying we have to be cruel to these people, but not holding them accountable or giving them this off-ramp and coddling them is not something I am capable of doing. I'm capable of fighting for them to have health care. I'm capable of fighting for their future children or grandchildren that might be gay to be treated equally under the law and not be discriminated against by people like these triple Trumpers that vote this way, homophobes like Tucker Carlson. But what's your take on a rural triple Trumper and then the country club?
Well, I think some voters in places like Oklahoma, more rural areas, sometimes they do genuinely have remorse. So maybe they're not educated about certain issues. But a lot of times, like with Tucker Carlson, what we see here is he's not against what Trump stands for. That's not what he's saying here. Something has happened where it doesn't serve his interest anymore to be a racist or to be a homophobe. So now he's changed gears. So, I think that as Democrats, we want to embrace and open up the idea of trying to reach out to people who genuinely have contrition, who maybe made a mistake. It's certainly worth examining why they voted for Trump in the first place. But people like Tucker Carlson and other politicians, their motives are self-serving. Like it's clear who Tucker Carlson is. It's clear that he knew what he was signing up for when he supported Donald Trump. As you said, his brother worked for J.D. Vance. There's no surprise here at the end of this rainbow that he's getting something that he didn't know he was getting. So to hear him go on and give this somewhat contrite speech about I'm sorry and I feel responsible. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
All right. So Congressman Chip Roy is a MAGA racist Islamophobe of the highest order. And the Democrats have a star in the mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani. And Zoran took on the establishment, he took on the billionaires, and he was laser focused on affordability and delivering for the working class New Yorkers. And he even got a lot of pushback and blowback from within the Democratic Party, but he remains laser focused. And the Zoran Mamdanis of the world are a huge threat to the Chip Roys, to the Lindsey Grahams, to the RNC, and some people in the Democratic establishment that use this propaganda that if somebody is a Muslim, they must be a terrorist. And this propaganda has been successful to get people to support blank checks to Israel, to keep supporting patriarchal candidates. And now Chip Roy has introduced the Mandani Act. Let's pop this up. Representative Chip Roy introduces the Mandani Act, measures against Marxism's dangerous adherents and noxious Islamists. It allows for deportation/denaturalization of immigrants involved with socialist, communist, Chinese communist, Marxist, or Islamic fundamentalist doctrines. And so this is just the loudest of dog whistle on the planet. And it's just straight up racism. And I think that you had some people in the Democratic Party that didn't come out and endorse Mamdani because they're compromised by Israel. And this is a huge blow to the propaganda that we've all been sold about Muslims. We have all been sold this Muslims are terrorists and they're going to blow shit up and they have a bunch of wives and all of this stuff. Well, Zoran Mamdani is for universal human rights, childcare. He's literally trying to advocate for toddlers whose parents need to go to work and cannot afford childcare. And Chip Roy is throwing out this rampant racism. What's your take on this, Josh?
Well, number one, I think it shows the power of Mamdani and how threatened these politicians feel by his success, because you see legislation like this. I mean, it's obvious this is just blatant racism on its face. It makes me want to suggest that maybe we need to deport white people with guns that shoot people. Maybe we need a Chip Roy. Let's
Chip Roy Act.
Maybe it's not too bad of an idea to remove people that use guns to shoot and kill people.
Well, and let me just remind you of this. The person that shot their icon, Charlie Kirk, was a white boy raised in MAGA world, in MAGA culture, in the most cracker-ass, cracker neighborhood imaginable in Utah. And
this is where they do the flip, right? So they do the flip to where if the numbers and the statistics show that more white people with guns, males, kill people than Muslims in America, then you got to flip it and you got to create this narrative and this act and this legislation to sort of validate that. And that's what this is. Instead it should be, if you're white, if you're a male, if you shoot people and you murder them in the United States, maybe you get deported. Maybe you don't get to live here anymore because you murdered 10, 12, 15, 18, 20 people. The Chip Roy Act.
All right. Moving along, the resignations and firings in Trump 2.0 have completely arrived. There's a new one. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Ramir resigns. The allegations, pop this up first. Labor Secretary has resigned. Her exit follows a tenure rocked by multiple scandals, including an investigation into an alleged affair with a security staffer and accusations of drinking on the job. Keith Sonderling will serve as acting Labor Secretary. It seems like everybody in the Trump regime is getting all liquored up and playing grab ass. It seems like it is just one after another, liquored up and plus grab ass.
It just sounds like goddamn game day. You get you a keg of beer and just go to town. If you're in DC right now, isn't it? Just tailgating. So, this sounds like an old episode of like All My Children or something. You've got all this drinking and affairs and toxic workplace and misconduct.
Listen to these allegations. She allegedly ordered staffers to fabricate official work trips so she could visit friends and family on taxpayer money. That's totally Trumpian MAGA values out the wazoo. She allegedly was directing staff to pressure civil servants into distributing grant funding in ways that could serve her future political ambitions, play out a MAGA Christian totally in line. Allegedly, her husband was accused of sexually assaulting two female Labor Department employees on the premises, with one encounter reportedly caught on camera and was subsequently banned from the department's headquarters. So not only is she playing grab ass, her husband's getting all liquored up and playing grab ass.
It's just bad luck for him that shit's got on tape. I mean, that's awful. It's horrible. She can't even go to work anymore without seeing his ass on some video being circulated.
And then at least 3 formal complaints alleging she created a toxic workplace and retaliated against women who reported her husband's misconduct. And this is all done in the name of Jesus, brought to you by the MAGA pro-family Republicans. What a crock of shit.
I think if we could just put a few more Bibles in the Department of Labor, is that what she's, she's Labor Secretary. If we could just put more Bibles, maybe start the day with a 10 or 15-minute moment of kind of worship and prayer, maybe a lot of this stuff wouldn't have happened.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because before they go into work at the West Wing, Paula White, the spiritual advisor to Trump, she leads a little light tongue talking before they go in. Despite that, Trump's still grifting from the Treasury, starting illegal wars, killing Iranian schoolgirls, and lying his fucking face off.
Do you think that maybe she could kind of walk over to the Department of Labor and maybe loan them her skill set of worship for a few days? And, and what's funny, this isn't funny, but if you're Trump, as stupid as he fucking is, and one of your assistants comes to you and says, hey, this goddamn Department of Labor thing is just, he's on tape. It's just, Trump's just going, God damn it. It's just one thing after another. It's just, you couldn't make this shit up. You couldn't intertwine it into an.
Well, it's pretty bad when you would take it to Trump and Trump would be like, God damn it, this is the grab him by the pussy guy. So the bar's already that low.
Yeah. It's like, can I not catch a break here? We got this other gal's husband, like he's wearing tits and boobs and shit. I just can't. Can we not, I just can't catch a break here. Like, what the fuck?
Big titty Brian.
Yeah, he's got fake boobs, all this shit. And
It's interesting that the women that Trump has hired, their husbands, if we go to Big Titty Brian and Lori Chavez de Ramir, they are just like Trump. They're sexual deviants.
Yeah.
The whole lot of this MAGA family values and purity culture, and it's just such bullshit. But I want to lead you. Do you have something?
One last thing. Speaking of Big Titty, what's his name?
Big Titty Brian.
Big Titty Brian. His wife likes to put this camo gear on and look tough and all this shit when she's out doing nothing in the field. And then she's thinking to herself, look, you son of a bitch, I put this camo on. I've got guns. I'm out here doing this rough shit. And I have to go look and see you dressed up with tits and all this stuff. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. Sam Stein has some analysis on the women that remain in Trump's cabinet. Pop this up. The 3 cabinet departures so far are 3 women, Noam Bondi and now Chavez Ramir. Waltz was axed too, I suppose, but ended up as UN ambassador. And let me just remind you about Mike Waltz. He's the guy that on Twitter, some sleuths found that he followed an account on Twitter called Big Dick Bottoms. And this has never been community noted. He's since unfollowed it, but there are screenshots that Mike Waltz, the UN ambassador to Donald Trump, likes to follow accounts called Big Dick Bottoms. And so the women that remain are Tulsi Gabbard, Brooke Rollins. Brooke Rollins, of course, is the woman who said, if you can't afford eggs, get your own chickens and have your chickens breed. And that's how you eat your eggs. Linda McMahon, whose husband is, accused of all sorts of sexual assault. Kelly Loeffler is the head of Small Business Administration. So Josh, final question to you. There's some reporting last week that Trump has told all of these people, don't worry, everybody who's been within 200 yards of the Oval is getting a pardon. And so as a criminal defense attorney, is there a case that people can make that if you're telling people to commit a crime because you're going to pardon them, does that make the pardon null and void?
Yeah, I think that, and that's a new sort of, this whole area of pardon law has emerged with Trump and the way he's used the ability to get pardons. And, another segment that we talked about was basically these pardons are for sale, just blatant profiting off of granting pardons. But I think that there would be a very good chance that if you pardon someone with the intention of concealing a crime that you knew they would commit, that pardon would be null and void. I mean, I think that there's a full area of law that would address that. But again, like so many other things, Trump pushes the envelope on these issues to a place that no one could have fathomed that it would go to, and that you'd have to think. You couldn't imagine a president saying, hey, go out and do all this crazy shit because I'm going to give you a pardon and you're going to be okay. Like, you couldn't fathom living in a country that elected a leader like that. Which circles back to Tucker Carlson saying he got something that he didn't know he was going to get. I think those people are full of shit. I think we're all getting exactly what we knew we were going to get.